Summer 2016. What a magnificent, wonderful year. Blue sky. Oh, just awesome. Wait a minute. It wasn't that easy this year. You know, in Europe, there are some parts we had late springtime frosts. We were also affected, so I made another video about that. And then some regions had massive, enormous hail damage. This year we were lucky, no hail damage here. But during the vegetation season, the growing season, we had lots and lots of rain. It was warm, humid, nice, humid, wet nights. Ideal conditions for a special disease called Peronospora, Downy Mildew. It's a fungal disease and spreads rapidly under these conditions. So it was actually quite difficult to find the right spot, the right time to do treatments against Peronospora this year. For wine growers that use chemical synthetic products, they have longer times between spraying. Ecological growers, they also have to spray, but with products that have a very, very narrow time to actually applicate. So they have to go out so more often than others. So it's been really, really difficult for them. And even for those not being biological, but with these synthetic chemicals, they have to also look and monitor when to go out, because they need the ideal conditions to go out and do the treatments. And some of these wine growers, grape growers that, you know, just do wine part-time or just do grape growing part-time, well, they're working during the week and maybe they don't have time on Saturday. So if they didn't hit the right moment, well, in some regions they have lost the whole crop, and it is really awful this year. Peronospora, this Downy mildew, won't ruin the plant. What it does is just it ruins the grapes before they're ripe. The leaves are affected, photosynthesis gets slowed down, and then if the grapes are affected, well, they just turn black and fall off, and you're just left with no crop at all. So you could say Peronospora could be a utility to reduce crop levels. I wouldn't do that. Here we're in Leiselheim, and the rainfalls here were a bit severe than in Bischofingen. As you can see, the odd bunches with Peronospora dried up now at the moment. So we lost a bit of crop here, but nevertheless there's still enough here, so we'll be okay. So the next thing is, of course, problem with lots and lots of rain during the growing season. As we don't use herbicides anymore for many years, it's quite difficult because the grass is growing so fast. Warm conditions, water, grass growing like mad. And we've been sort of struggling for weeks now to get the soil under the rows the way we like to have it. And thankfully the last 10 days been dry enough, and so it finally worked, and the soil is now grass, so-called grass-free now. So it's all going without herbicides. But it's been quite difficult. The next issue about 2016 is actually bad weather during the flowering season. What this means is just actually that, you know, the berry sizes won't be all big, some of them will be quite small, mille rondage. And so if you have lost some crop through Peronospora, through Downy mildew, and then now also lost crop weight because of bad flowering conditions, well, you might not reach the targeted level of crop levels you're aiming at. So if you're a wine grower with low grape prices, which needs high crop levels to make his living, to actually earn a bit of money, well, it's quite difficult for them. for us personally, I just love it when we have these bad flowering conditions, because for us a natural crop level on a vine is too high for our quality ambitions. So in those years where we have too high crop levels due to very good flowering conditions, we have to go through all the vineyards and sort of cut down excess grapes. Mostly what we do is just half the bunches. This year, in many vineyards, because the crop levels are naturally so low, we don't have to do anything. And it's just wonderful. It just saves so much time, and that's great. One other thing about this year is many cherry producers have had problems with spotted-winged Drosophila. And therefore, if they didn't treat their cherries properly, well, they just lost the whole crop on cherries. And if you have a season with wet conditions, well, this fly, this Drosophila, will just carry on building up its population, and then after the cherries are gone, it will then one day go to the blackberries. Here in the Kaiserstuhl, all these slopes are just covered with blackberries. And then they'll keep on populating themselves in the blackberries, and then as soon as the grapes get ripe, well, they wander off to the grapes, and if you have tough luck, well, you'll lose some of your, or lots of your crop as soon as they come into the grapes. So the best thing against that is actually getting rid of leaves in the grape zone, de-leafing. And you have to be 100% perfect with that. And the issue is actually you need to get air into that zone to dry off the grapes, to make conditions for this fly that it doesn't like to go to your grapes. And that's the main work we have to do now. So if that all goes well, I mean, if we have a hot summer with temperatures over 35 degrees in a row, the spotted-winged Drosophila will just get killed. It will get infertile, and that would be wonderful. But I don't know if that will happen this year. We will have some odd hot days, but it will cool down through thunderstorms and rain again. So it doesn't look that well. But nevertheless, if we all make it into a harvest and we get them all in, then 2016, I know we've had these problems with Peronospora, with springtime frost zone, but because the crop levels everywhere are so low because of the bad flowering, wineries and winemakers will actually have a great quality. 2016 is there, and at the moment looks really good. Low crop levels. Just hope that everything gets well until the harvest starts, and I'm looking forward to it, and I hope you too.